Well, good evening and welcome along to the Brighton Albion ePremier League Club Playoff event. I'm absolutely buzzing to say that I'm joined tonight by a good friend, a former Manchester City esports pro that's played in this ePremier League tournament. It's no one else than Mr. Ryan Pessoa. Good evening, my friend.
Yeah, good evening, Brandon. Happy to be here. We've got some top games, hopefully, to watch with the Brighton players still to play. So it'll be interesting.
So, any Brighton fans that might be tuning in thinking, what is the Premier League? Myself and Ryan will give you the best explainer we can tonight of what this tournament means. In short, it's a £100,000 EAFC tournament, which will take place next year. But what's different this year, Ryan, is we've got two events, haven't we? We normally always have one weekend in March, which concludes the 20 clubs, which will have two players each. But this year, it's actually played across two weekends.
Yeah, 2 weekends. So it gives you, I guess, two chances to try and make the finals or to progress further into the competition. But yeah, of course, today is the first step, or I say not first step. We've seen previous stages to get to this point, but it's a major step to get to that LAN event, which is of course what all players who are involved in this competition want to get to.
Yeah, well, when the qualification went up this year for the Premier League, there's over 3,000 Premier League fans that signed up for all different clubs. However, Brighton of Albion had a number of those fans in there trying to represent the Seagulls this time around. Let's have a look at the brackets if we can for tonight's action, because we've got PlayStation and Xbox coming your way. This, first and foremost, is the PlayStation side of things, which we have to speak about, Ryan, because the way that the Premier League works this year, there are certain players that might get an auto invite from clubs. Those players could be players that have represented the club before, and Mark Marley does fall into that today.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives them an extra chance, so they automatically get put into the grand final, the upper bracket side of things. So as you can see in this bracket, AJM Jules, who's come through the upper bracket, would have to beat Mark Marley twice. So he needs to reset the bracket in order to qualify to represent Brighton at the E-Premier League, whereas Mark Marley only needs to win one game. So for those players that were invited to this stage, they obviously have that major advantage and that safety cushion. Whereas if something goes wrong, they can fall back on that and hopefully for their sake reset and go into the next game.
Yeah, he's had to play quite a handful of games as well to get here. Two big wins alongside the upper bracket. He's never fallen down to that lower bracket as of yet, has AGM Jules. As we said, has to win two-legged games of EAFC to have a chance of beating Mark Marley. For Mark Marley, though, you could argue it's always going to be a tough day in the office. One thing we should say about Mark Marley, though, is he has represented the Seagulls a handful of times on PlayStation, and he's one of the most consistent players alongside Tex, who now represents Manchester City esports, because he simply just qualifies year after year for this tournament, Ryan. He's just so consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been a runner-up as well in a previous competition. I believe it was in FIFA 20. So he's had the experience to progress further on in the tournaments. And as you said about consistency, for me, he's one of the most underrated players, I think, in not just in the UK scene, but in Europe in general. I rate him as a really high player back in the days when I used to compete as well. We had a lot of bouts against each other. So yeah, I respect him as both a player and a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's a proud Scotland man who has got a great chance of winning in this bracket. We're going to jump into it now, as we said, on the PlayStation first and foremost. It's very simple. Two legs of EAFC. If you win, you qualify for the Seagulls to represent the club at the early stages of next year. There is an Xbox bracket that will be taking place alongside this one. We'll be doing our best to give you the lowdown on it. So without any further ado, let's jump in to the game, if we can, to give you the lowdown on this one. As we said, two legs of EAFC to find this year's E-Premier League representative for the Seagulls. I did see earlier today, Mark Marley did come out on social media, Ryan, asking for a couple of practice games.
Yeah, you can see Mark kicking from left to right. See the way he's building up here. Driven into the box. But it's a good block there. Of course, man, we can look at the players' selections of personnel in their teams. We see the likes of Mo Salah. We see Son. Ruud Hiller, of course, an icon from the Premier League in past years. Yaya Toure. Ginola up front. Vincent Company. There's so many names that a lot of these players will be eager to use in their squads that could make the difference.
Absolutely. Well, we just heard that Mark Marley is kicking from left to right in that home strip of Brighton of Albion. And as we will see, his team unfold. A selection, as you said, Ryan, of heroes that have featured and will feature this year in the Premier League finals when we do get over to those final stages. I mean, I'm actually surprised what players that aren't heroes or icons will feature in this team. Could be an early start for Heung-min Son, defended well by Virgil van Dijk in the end. It's going to be a difficult ask, don't get me wrong, to try and beat a player of Mark Marley's quality. I mean, for AGM Jules, it's a case of one game at a time because he has to go the long way here, Ryan, if he wants to try and beat him today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that the pressure, in my opinion, obviously I've been in these situations, both on the side of winning these situations. I've also lost one in the past as well. And you feel like there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders as Mark builds up, plays it across. Oh, it's beautiful. Another extra pass there, Brandon. Henry on his favoured foot, touch inside and then puts it into the bottom corner.
Yeah, looks like it was Thunderstruck Henry that added that one onto his account. It's the first chance and it's the first real goal for Mark Marley, who looks to represent the Seagulls once again. As we said, all he has to do is win 2 legs of this matchup to ensure that he does qualify this time round. But it's the perfect start for him. Just a quick look at this one. I don't know if my eyes have deceived me. Is Ramirez playing as a right back, or am I just...
Yeah, I think he's utilising him as a right back in a 4-3-2-1. He's got Robertson on the overlap, and it could be a response. AGM Jules pushing into the box.
Wins himself a corner. 20 minutes on the clock. AGM Jules having a little look at his bracket run that he's had today. He got here for a 9-6 win over the 2 legs. He hasn't been perfectly defensive, but regardless of that, he's been a threat going forward. I mean, his first leg, 6 goals to 2, which gave him the all-important push to get through to this stage. It's Marcus Rashford now looking to drive forward. Nice little ball roll scoop inside. Company can't fully deal with that one. Great feet from Hullet, and just like that, we find ourselves all square again, and that's what Ruud Hullet will offer to this team.
Exactly. Dangerous in the area and outside of it as well. We saw the Lacroqueta skill move utilised. It all started from that ball roll scoop into the box there with Rashford for AGM Jules, and he finds a way to equalise.
It could be an instant reply. A question for you, Ryan. Obviously, you've played in some of these club playoffs before when you're at Manchester City. You may have had the auto-invite through to this stage, but it must be so hard to try and work out what sort of player you're coming up against, because, I mean, the Premier League is always looking for the next sort of up-and-coming pro star, the next up-and-coming FC pro player, but the play styles you often play against are just so unpredictable.
Yeah, of course. It's unknown quantities. You're playing against players that you would have never potentially played before, or you're playing against players where they would have information on your play style, but you have nothing. And there's beautiful roulette. Just last-ditch defending to stop Mark Marley taking the lead again. But yeah, it's tough because, again, you sort of go into the games with the pressure on your shoulders, the weight of expectation, knowing that you kind of have to perform. Otherwise, you're letting down not just yourself, but the club that's put the faith in you. So I know how it feels for Mark in these situations. It's not as easy as it looks playing somebody that potentially isn't a well-known name in the scene.
No, and that's obviously nothing to take away from AGM Jules, who's had to go through the longer route to get into this stage as he looks to defend this chance. Referee plays the advantage, or does she? She does pull back for a free kick in the end on the edge of the box. That's played short. Heung-min Son, a couple of step overs. Mark Marley looking for a second and somehow just goes wide and not even on target there from Heung-min Son. He did well to create the chance originally.
It's a great shot cancel there and then the step over. Thought he was going to shoot with the finesse shot there with Son. Oh, this ball over. I think that's just offside, isn't it?
Oh, no, he's on apparently. He's on. Robertson will play it across. David Ginola will say, yes, please.
Wow. What a ball. He was in that much space. I thought he was offside.
Suddenly, Mark Marley finds himself 2-1 down in this game. Do not forget, I should say, there is still a long way to be played in this one. 2 legs with an aggregate scoreline playing its part. Mark Marley looking for an instant reply. Thierry Henry, the goal scorer of the first, looking to go on his own, wins a corner. What can we see from Mark in these areas? Maybe Trivella from the edge of the box. It's Yaya Toure. We know how deadly he can be. Always a standout hero. no matter the year and no matter the timing in the game, ever since he was introduced, not as an icon, as a hero, he's been one of the more pricier hero players, which I have been lucky to pack. I'm not going to lie. He's an absolute baller. Speaking of Yaya Toure, involved again. Play a lot fake there by Mark Marley, looking to still build up nicely. Very patient in this one, though. Andy Robertson getting into a very dangerous area. Hullet will try and go on his own. He will. Van der Sar just throws himself out. It does enough somehow. And that will do us for half-time in leg number 1. Mark Marley did take the lead in this one, Ryan, but finds himself 2-1 down at the break.
Yeah, it was a turnaround from AGM Jules. We haven't seen too many chances go his way. I think Mark, as you can see from the stats, actually clearly has had the lion's share of possession and chances in this game. He's down by 1 goal. As we said, a couple of chances. I feel as if he's getting situations on the edge of the box to take a Trivela or a finesse shot, but he's not taking it. I think maybe that could play into the fact sometimes you overthink simple things that always work and you try and do the extravagant, the more complicated thing when sometimes the basics is enough to find you the back of the net.
Well, if you weren't aware of how the process works for this year's ePremier League, as we said, there is a handful of tournaments up for grabs to play in this year, including a chance to battle out for £100,000 in prize money. Obviously, Brighton of Albion, as much as it hurts me, have never won the Premier League. We've been in the latter stages quite some time ago. It wasn't the best performance from us last year out in London as we were grouped with our 2 players in Ragnar Vifa and Mark Marley, who did represent the Seagulls in a handful of years now. But this time it does turn round. On the 20th and 21st of January, there will be an ePremier League finals group stages where basically 16 teams from the 20 will then qualify for the ePremier League finals as we know it on the 23rd and 24th of March, which I'd say this year, Ryan, just gives maybe those teams and those teams of 2, as much as this is an individual tournament, just a bit more time to get used to the game, the stage, playing at this tournament, because for some players, it was a case of they come into their first LAN event, they play for a weekend, and a lot of them just aren't ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a case of, or it has been the case where you just have a bad day. And honestly, you have to have a bad day. I've had it myself where nothing's going right. You start off slow, but then in previous formats, you starting off slow is the tournament's over before you know it. So there's no time to react. Whereas, as you said, this time you do have that second attempt to try your best to get to the last stages.
Back underway we go again. It is AGM Jules kicking from left to right in that away strip of the Albion. In the blue and white. Mark Marley trailing by 2-1 as it currently stands. On paper, the underdog winning this game. Remember, he has to force a bracket reset if he wishes to represent Brighton of Albion this time round in the ePremier League finals. The key thing about this performance from AGM Jules is though he has to take the game to Mark Marley and can't really be afraid of his qualities that he has shown before. He has looked very fruitful in the final third. A couple of just impressive mechanical inputs there, Ryan, where he's just sort of looked to test Mark Marley in the last final third of the pitch.
Yeah, he seems fearless and he's utilising Hullet a lot in the build-up because his size, his stature is very dominant when pushing into the area. Mark now on the attack. Good defending. But it was a good player look as well to try and get the driven pass into the box from Mark. Winning it back again here.
Happy to still recycle it. Mohamed Salah able to stop on the ball. Does get fortunate maybe just to pick that one up on the rebound. There's a La Croqueta that we see, and you can, of course, use it into a shot now, if you please to. Potentially a chance to break away. Son. To play forward, does get forced to bounce back. Mark Marley goes from distance. I mean, Son's got some unbelievable in-game stats in terms of his finishing, but I didn't expect him to hit it from that far out. It wasn't timed green or anything on those lines. Wins himself a corner. Son again involved in this one. There's the player lock towards the back post. It's clever, and on another day, maybe Ruud Hullet gets onto that one.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit lucky that the keeper didn't come to claim it, but then when it went past him, I thought it was all but certain to be an equaliser for Mark. But unfortunately for his case, it wasn't meant to be. As he wins possession again, he's pressing up very high. But again, maybe I've jinxed it, giving away possession carelessly there.
Ginola. Chance to break. Mohamed Salah. Will he look for a cross? He'll probably look to just find his way into the box. Couple of step overs. Mark Marley looking to take this game back into his control. Great feet from Heung-min Son. Again, just enough defensively from AGM Jules with the help of Virgil van Dijk and Vincent Kompany, which you'd probably say on paper is the perfect sort of partner for him this year, Ryan. And probably the two players that we're going to see, unless there's an unbelievable team of the year that comes out in January time, because I can imagine Vincent Kompany will just offer you the same sort of build and style of player that Virgil van Dijk will.
Exactly. We saw the impact of Van Dijk, even in that situation there, just out-muscling any player in the box. Genuinely, it doesn't matter who it is. When it comes to a shoulder challenge, advanced defending, you just shoulder bars the attacker off the ball. I think this year, though, the attackers seem to be a lot more impactful for ePremier League teams, especially with the way play styles have come into effect. You've got Son and Salah currently at this current edition of the game with the finesse shot.
Which I did read earlier today. Looks like it might be getting a slight nerve.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe it's not perfect timing for a lot of other players that still have their ePrem qualifiers coming up. But again, the finesse shot will still be good if you're able to time it perfectly.
Well, I disguises that one very well. Henry, again, Van der Sar is the hero again. Can he recycle this one, Mark Marley? Looking for the extra pass. Again, just can't find it. Andy Robertson comes over from left back there just to make the all-important interception. And as much as AGM Jules hasn't had all the possession in this half so far, he's done enough to stay in front. But keep in mind that there is 2 legs to be played here. AGM Jules has to force a bracket reset and then go and win 2 more legs of EAFC against Mark if he wishes to represent Brighton of Albion this time round. I mean, we did see a bit of an upset, you could say, last year in the Premier League. It was Ragnar who did beat Impacts over on the Xbox side. Impacts was the invited player. But it goes to show that these new faces that are coming through the Premier League can certainly stand up for themselves. A couple of step overs from Heung-min Son again. Van der Sar just proving his worth again and again and again.
Yeah, you'd expect that one to go into the corner. I'm not sure if he tried to green time it or not, but it was well worked, the step over to go inside instead of step overing forward. Oh.
Again, it's just a bit of ping pong there between the two players. Ginola. Oh, it's a great pass. Can he get around the goalkeeper? He can. Schmeichel can only parry. Does get fortunate to pick that one up on the replay. Pause does come in, which does come from the side of AGM Jules. He's had that there for quite some time. I'm just trying to think off the bench, Ryan, who's not on the pitch already that could come on. Or maybe a Haaland?
He would be a role. He'd probably be a player you'd bring on in the second leg if you're winning, just the out ball down the wings. Someone you can trust to win headers. But Brandon, that is the end of the first leg. Mark losing 2-1 against AGM Jules.
Some would say potentially a bit of a shock result. I mean, one thing that you could say on his side, Ryan, is that this is a player that's been playing for the last couple of hours and he hasn't lost the game yet. He's just been winning and winning and winning and winning. Yeah,
exactly. You can say that catches out some of the players that are, of course, put into the upper bracket because, again, as I said, you're given that spot. You don't have to play any other games in the day. Yes, practice games. You can play against other people competing in different for different clubs, but it's not the same as the actual competition. The nerves, the stakes are higher. So then you could be caught cold, which has happened to a lot of players already this year in their qualifiers. So it surprises me, but it also doesn't. I understand it. But again, there's still a long way for Mark to bounce back. And AGM Jules, again, it's been a good first leg, so we'd be happy to and hoping to build on it.
Yeah, and if there is any Brighton of Albion fans that are tuning in tonight on YouTube thinking, what is the Premier League? Why is this on the channel? If you're thinking what this is an esports tournament where EAFC is the game in hand. Next year, there is basically a Premier League ePremier League tournament, which will take place in London across 2 different periods of time in January and March. £100,000 on the line. Every Premier League club has 2 players, one on Xbox, one on PlayStation. The reason that myself and Ryan are here tonight is to find who the club's representatives are going to be for this season. And that's why I think we're in a little bit of a shock here. I know it's only one leg. I know it's only one goal, especially the AFC. There's so many goals that go in this year. But Mark
Literally,
Marley, he's one of the most consistent players in this tournament alongside Tex. He literally lives for this tournament. He's always there. He's always amongst the best 40 in this tournament. If he wasn't to make it, I know we're still a long way away from it, it would be a massive shock.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, echoing what you said, it's still a long way to go. He's still got the second leg. And even if he does lose this set of games, he still has the bracket reset to hopefully mentally reset and go into that next set of games. But as we said, it's still a long way to go. We can still technically get this done. Been in these situations, both on the side of ways. We see the building up here. Mark Marley, player look, step overs into the box, the ball roll back, the extra pass with Hullet, and then the finish with Henry to give him the 1-goal lead, Brandon.
Yeah, these were the highlights from the first leg in case you missed it. This was the all-important equaliser. It might have been a fortunate bounce by there, Ryan, but it's what he did with the extra chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Utilising the La Croqueta. This is the ball over the top there. I think that's Kyle Walker that plays it. That's an unbelievable ball in behind. Robertson, of course, a simple pass, open goal finish to take the lead. But yeah, that ball over the top, it's something that we know throughout the community, but I just didn't think Kyle Walker had the ability to play that ball. So yeah. That is an unbelievable way to take the lead. Yeah, it would have caught Mark Marley off guard.
Andy Robertson to make that run, Ryan. I mean, that never normally happens, does it?
Yeah. You have to obviously manually trigger that run, switch it over to the other fullback, and then play the lofted ball over the top. But yeah, I just didn't expect that one to go through.
Well, speaking of Brighton players that could feature on the bench tonight for any Brighton fans that are competing, a road to the final, road to knockout, João Pedro could be in the conversation. He's looking very deadly at the moment, and I think it's a Trailblazer Matoma that's come out. We've got a Centurions Lewis Dunk. I've never seen Lewis Dunk with more pace than that. He's never been known for being fast in the game, unfortunately. So as a Brighton fan, for the last month and the start to this season, we've had quite a few special items, Ryan.
Yeah, as you said, the road to the knockout, João Pedro is a standout one. Someone that I use myself on one of my accounts to play Weekend League. He's got a number of goals for me, assists. He's got the dribbling, the passing, the shooting, the pace, obviously. So he's reliable in front of goal. So yeah, I'd say Brighton do have a number of players that you could use this year, as you can see on the screen here. Getting into leg number 2, Mark Marley down 2-1 against AJM Jules. He needs to turn it around to secure his spot for the Brighton PlayStation representative in the ePremier League.
Or we could be going back to a bracket reset. We're back underway in the game now. Let's jump into it if we can. This is the ePremier League club playoff for Brighton Hove Albion. Keep in mind that it will be Mark kicking from right to left in that blue and white of Brighton of Albion. As soon as we can, we will let you know the scenario here. We believe Mark is kicking from right to left. He is. As we said, trailing in this game.
See Mark utilising that Ramirez in that right back there. He's got a lot of bodies forward for this attack. It's good defending from AJM Jules there. Using the player lock as well to set Rashford off. Bringing David Ginola closer to him. That driven pass, I thought it was going to go to Hullet.
Speaking of switch of plays, there you go.
That Henry is rapid. Oh, goodness me.
I mean, as someone who is a big Arsenal advocate, Ryan, I'm guessing he'd be the first player in the team for you.
This year, genuinely, yeah. I'm not even joking. He'd be up there for sure. I've been using him again. Another player that I've used partnerships well with João Pedro. It's good win up the pitch there from Mark Marley.
Yeah, Toure finds Mohamed Salah looking for that exit from the step overs again, which just gives you that little extra speed boost, as we know. Now a chance to try and play that a little bit more forward. A quick counter-attack doesn't come to anything. Play a lot there. This is where Mark can be dangerous. Currently trailing by 2-1. Remember, if Mark was to win this game and turn it around, he would represent the Seagulls this year. Mohamed Salah. Looks for Henry. There's the finish, and that's his second goal across the two legs. It is no surprise that when we start speaking about Henry, he suddenly turns up and delivers once again.
Absolutely, and that's the way back into the game for Mark Marley. 2-2 now. Needed that goal early on in the second leg just to give him the confidence. Again, you can see there AJM Jules trying it. That's what I expected to happen when he tried that ball over the top with Kyle Walker. And this time, he went straight to the goalkeeper.
Do you think you can get away with playing Ramirez as a right back? Obviously, we know the stats he's got. Brand new hero this year, still worth about 500,000 coins. But he doesn't really offer you maybe the height or maybe the build of a fullback that you might want from, I guess, maybe a crossing scenario. I guess the one thing that could go in your favour. Here's David Ginola looking for a goal. Mark Marley leads by 3-2. We'll come back to that in a second. It's another hero that gets himself onto the score sheet there. It's 2 in quick succession. But back to the point there, right, is I guess to argue it, we don't really see loads of crosses this year, so you might not want the usual height from your fullback.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I think going forward, he offers that support because of the 4-star skill moves as well. But I think I would personally go with Kyle Walker. He's just a steady option.
Could be a chance for an equaliser. AGM Jules. Henry will look to try and turn. Henry still. Equaliser, surely. Yep, game back on again. Henry scores down the other end. Suddenly, this game comes to life. 3 goals in 27 minutes. We find ourselves suddenly all square again.
Yeah, he's managed to bring himself back in this game. Of course, I know the aggregate score says it's 3-2. It's currently 3-3.
Yeah, do ignore that home. The scoreline is 3-3 between these two. Hold it back to Ginola. No way through. Unfortunately, on this stage, if you have just tuned in on the YouTube channel, Brighton of Albion, this is the ePremier League Club Playoff event. We are looking for the next 2 players to represent the Seagulls in this year's ePremier League. David Ginola, that's a tidy little exit from the Elastico. Does pull out a big save and goes for a corner. No surprise that it wasn't drilled directly into the box. That one's played short. Back to Yaya Toure. Thought about a shot from that far out. Virgil van Dijk certainly won't be hitting one from that far out. Salah looks to recycle it in a different way.
Trivella.
There's the Trivella. Eventually does come in. It was time green. Still headers and volleys around the box. We haven't really seen that too much from Mark Marley. Maybe he's looking to just keep it as a trick up his sleeve, that famous Trivella.
Yeah, I feel as if, as I said earlier on in the first leg, I felt as if there were options for him to take the shot. The goalkeeper movement wasn't there from AJM Jules. Now he's starting to be a bit more aggressive with the shots outside the box. This could be a break on company against David Ginola. The pace manages to get in behind there.
Cut back. Henry looks for the near post again. It's Van der Sar who will be the hero. 5 minutes from half time. There's the Trivella. I mean, that was ambitious from Salah. Maybe a little bit of goalkeeper movement there from Van der Sar just to match it. But Van der Sar, as we always know, does give you that little bit of extra height. Similar to maybe a goalkeeper like Courtois. Does come in helpful in those scenarios. Salah again. Keeping up for Henry. He will get into a pocket of space. Still no way past the Dutch defender. It's crazy that year after year, Van Dijk still just remains at this build and this sort of body type that it's just so hard to get around. And he just has this reach that no other sort of centre-backs really have.
Yeah, for me, along with his play styles in game, he's got the aerial, he's got a lot of the mainstay of the defensive ones with anticipate. It just makes him even better than he has been in previous years. So for me, again, not even just the best centre-back in the Premier League options, but for me, the best option in the game. Genuinely, he's that good. I think he's, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Well, half-time, the score is 3-3 for those that have just tuned in between Mark Marley and AGM Jules. As we said, if Mark wins this game, Mark will represent the Seagulls this year again in the ePremier League. We will be needing a bracket reset. Again, if you don't know what a bracket reset is, if someone has come through the lower bracket or the online qualification bracket, They have to go. An extra mile to go and do so, which I guess the question for you there, Ryan, is those games where you may have gone to a bracket reset and past club playoffs, is it a case of when you get to the bracket reset, there's another panic from you thinking, oh my God, this guy's actually taking me to a bracket reset? Or is it a case of, right, I've got a second chance here to try and switch on and turn it around?
Yeah, for me, it's the latter. I know it sounds potentially that you'd expect it to be a little bit more pressure. For me, it's less pressure because I don't know how to explain it, but for me, the worst thing has already happened, losing a game. So for me, that's the worst thing. So there's obviously not making it would be a disaster, but again, I feel as if having that loss already is one of the worst things that could have happened. So I've sort of reset already, ready, prepared for the reset. And for me, it makes me play a little bit better.
Well, as you can see, the scoreline is correct on the screen. We heard as well that on the Xbox side of things, Moonman has just made the Xbox final there. He'll be taking on Jaden Groden as Henri looks to add on to another one for his account. I think what we're seeing already, Ryan, is just a snippet of what we're going to be expecting in terms of the icons on display in this year's ePremier League.
Yeah, that was lovely there, that little hill to hill to get that space. That Henri on his weaker foot is dominant in front of goal. He's been very, very, very lethal when given the opportunities.
Mark Marley back in the driving seat. This is the key part now. Can he look to find a 2-goal cushion? He's never been able to have that so far in the aggregate scoring of this game. Very high line coming in from AGM Jules. Couple of step overs from Ramirez. Back to Yaya Toure. Thought maybe about a treader from that far out, looking for that perfect through, but if he needs to find it, Hullet goes on his own. It's down the goalkeeper's throat. But the idea was there, nevertheless. Poor touch from Henri, not the goal scorer this time. Does do well just to recover that one. And so far, Ramirez looks comfortable there. I mean, you start to try and picture sort of January time coming round. You'd like to think that there is going to be another right-back option that will be usable.
Yeah, you'd hope so. You'd hope there are a few more options. But Ramirez in right-back, the stats, if you look at his base hero item, 88 pace, 84 defending, 83 physical. On paper, he should be able to operate in that fullback position very well. High work rates. As you said, it's the physical presence in game, and that's someone with physical presence. And he grabs the equaliser there, AJM.
4-4. We are all square again. Really pushing Mark Marley for his place on the PlayStation for Brighton of Albion once again. What a display this guy's put on. You have to sort of feel for him if he comes all the way through and was to lose out across these two legs after battling out in months and months of online qualification. Winning 3 games on the bounce today before having to sort of, you could argue, coming up against the final boss in Mark Marley, who has played in this tournament more than anyone. Final 20 minutes. As we said, the Xbox final has kicked off as well. Jaden Groden up against Moonman to represent the Seagulls on the Xbox, who will they be joining on the PlayStation first and foremost. One more pass, finds Rashford, and just like that, AGM Jules does very well to switch on to a piece of goalkeeper movement. And now we find ourselves in a little bit of a scenario here. 5 goals to 4. AGM Jules does lead.
Yeah, he's managed to catch Mark Marley out with the goalkeeper movement. Mark moving towards the other side of the goal, but obviously anticipating the most obvious shot there across goal, which is the main thing to do in that situation. But he's reacted well, as you said, and manages to find the back of the net. He's turned this game on its head now.
This is where the pressure starts to build. Mark Marley looking for an equaliser. Salah back inside. Ginola back to pull the game all square again. 5-5 we find ourselves in. Are we on our way to potentially jumping into extra time? Cannot argue, Brian, how big of a goal that was. When time starts trickling away, in the back of your mind, there's a bracket reset waiting for you. You just start to panic.
I think, as you said, when the clock ticks down, especially in these 6-minute halves, well, obviously this is used to 9-minute halves, but 6-minute best of 2, you worry when the game approaches these sorts of moments, but just your opponent resorting to game management, just keeping possession. But now he's in a tricky position where, in my opinion, next goal could potentially win this whole tie.
Omri does well to duck and dive a few tackles there, just as enough. Last 8 minutes now we are in. Keep in mind, Mark Marley wins this game. He will represent Brighton of Albion in this year's ePremier League. Can he look to find that winner right now? Towards the back post. It's just flicked on by Van der Sar. AGM Jules does enough again to stay in the tie. 5-5. Still the scoreline. As Mark looks for that all-important winner now. Patience is everything. Yaya Toure kicks the air and the possession changes hands. There is enough time for one more or even 2 more attacks for AGM Jules to get this ball forward. There's a player lot. Big tackle coming in from Vincent Kompany. It just does enough to swing the ball back the other way. There is a pause that has been cued by AGM Jules. I don't think he's going to see it in normal time. Switch of play finds Robertson. Keep in mind there's numbers in the box. Heung-min Son, David Ginola, Omri all queuing up at the edge of the box looking to find maybe that all-important winner. So patient though, Mark, just to go all the way back now. Punched him well. Oh, Mark Marley with the last kick of the game may have just booked his spot in the ePremier League Grand Final. We have to see that, by the way, on the replay again. What a pass that was! Was that Ramirez? Maybe.
I'm not even sure, but it was a killer-driven pass there into the feet, and he puts it into the corner. I believe it was Heung-min Son that finds the back of the net. I'd love to see a replay on that when play does resume. Again, this is the instant replay, building up with Robertson. Playing it back to Hullet. Yaya Toure, a player-lot-driven pass. Oh, it's unbelievable.
And we spoke about patience coming in there from Mark Marley. That might just be enough to send him to another ePremier League Grand Final. 6 in a row for the player from Scotland. He may have represented a few clubs, but he's back there again, representing the Seagulls for another year. I mean, commiserations to AGM Jules. If there's a way to not qualify and to lose out, that's not the way to do it. I mean, you got to feel for him.
Yeah, last-minute goals, especially in these moments, it was always painful. But again, he put up a great showing. He put up a good fight. Obviously, this could maybe be the start of his journey in competitive FC24. Maybe he can move on from this and participate in other smaller tournaments and build his name for himself. But yeah, as you said, Mark, again, the consistency is being shown here. He turned it around back against the wall. He had a tough first leg and he's come out on top.
I think a lot of us could argue we thought we were going to a bracket reset there, or at least extra time between the two players. Honestly, commiserations to AGM Jules. As much as what we say now does not mean much, I can fully understand the frustration you're feeling after going through all that process of qualification. But that is why Mark Marley was given that auto-invite into tonight's bracket, because he always delivers. He's always in the conversation for this tournament, and he's back there again, Ryan, 6 times in a row.
Yeah, again, as you said, he's always consistent. He makes a name for himself in the ePremier League. He's done it before in terms of reaching the latter stages of it. So hopefully for his sake this year, and your sake, obviously a Brighton fan as well, he can maybe take the extra step and get his hands on the trophy.
This time, get us out of the groups, Mark, all right? Last year, we didn't get out of the groups, and we need to get out of the groups, all right? Let's have a look at the highlights from that game in case you missed it. 2 legs on the PlayStation has just concluded, and the headline news we're coming at you with is that Mark Marley has qualified for Brighton of Albion again on the PlayStation this year. He kept us guessing. He was 2-1 down at the end of the first leg, Ryan, and as much as he had a positive start in this second leg, AGM Jules did come back.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw the highlights there. From some of Mark Marley's goals. This is AJ, the Lover Lacoqueta pass, playing it right back, the step over with Henry on his weaker foot to bring himself back into this game. And it was Mark Marley with a response again just after half time, playing it in a turn back the heel to heel and putting it into the corner.
Just made all the difference, really, didn't it? That extra skill move. That made it 4-3. Then Ginola did so well. The way that AGM Jules was able to attack tonight was super impressive. You'll see another one of those examples now. You'll just see here, there's a little bit of player movement. Didn't fall for it, though, Marcus Rashford. The one more pass making all the difference. At this point, we're thinking, okay, pressure may be starting to build here for Mark Marley. He's thinking a bracket reset could be on the cards. That didn't faze him at all as Ginola made that 4-4. And then this was the big one, the pick of the bunch, Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. This was the moment. You can see the time on the clock there. 91st minute, playing it, driven pass. Heung-min Son, weaker foot into the corner. And yeah, that secures this spot in the Premier League finals for this season.
Yeah, incredible scenes. If we have got the ability to look at the Xbox bracket, we will. If not, we're going to jump over to our Xbox matchup now. This is the bracket now as we jump ship. Simply the best if you don't know who that is, if you are an EAFC esports fan. That is Jaden Groden, also a fellow Scot, has represented Brighton of Albion before, has played in the Premier League a handful of times. Him and Mark Marley did represent the club a couple of seasons ago. He finds himself in a situation now where he plays against Moonman, who's had quite the journey because he did lose his first game against Cammy, Ryan. Went down to the lower bracket, had to go the long way round, then beat Cammy in the rematch, and then finds himself in a grand final.
Yeah, he's had to reset already coming through the loser bracket, which isn't easy. It's very grueling as well, and it takes a lot, not just in terms of ability on FC24, but mentally to keep resetting, keep going again. And now he's up against the likes of Jaden Groden, who, again, incredible player. He's shown it before in previous years. And we go into this game, Jaden 2-1 down. So Jaden will be EPL 14 on the scoreboard and Moonman EPL 15. We're 50 minutes into the first leg of this matchup.
Let's join it now because we might join at the perfect time for a goal. Again, this is the Xbox ePremier League Grand Final now. Mark Marley, as we just said, has confirmed his spot to represent the Seagulls this time round. If we can, we'll go into the full screen of the match now. Moonman, as you rightly said, Ryan, did take the lead. 2-0 early on. Mark Marley will now sit back and watch this Xbox final play out. Corner comes in towards the back post. Great save, and the Sar. Otherwise, that could have been a lot worse. The corner again. It's an acrobatic effort from Hullet. Here's Jaden, by the way, kicking from right to left in that blue and white strip of Brighton of Albion. Keep in mind, it's the same scenario here. If Moonman does win this first two-legged game, a bracket reset will happen. It would be a chance for Moonman to represent this club. Great turn there. Van Dijk does stand in the way, though. Salah. Omri in a battle. Good little step over. Could be a gift. Jaden's got to be careful. Does do well to get himself out of that spot of bother. Just pinned in, though.
Yeah, it's great press. It's intense. It's a hard way to get out. But once you do, you've managed to find the gaps and the spaces in behind. Utilising the player looks there, Jaden, to progress up the field.
I believe I just saw Ashley Cole as well involved in both of these two teams.
Yeah, Ashley Cole, jockey plus play style, a mistake.
Chance for Jaden Groden to exploit this mistake if he can. Heung-min Son. Carl Walker defends it well. Someone else along the back line that I know you're a big fan of too, Ryan. Laurent Blanc does feature in the side
love him.
Of Moonman.
So good. Anticipate plus play style, as we said. It adds something different when selecting players this year, the play styles or the addition of that this year. I'm a massive, massive fan of it for FC24.
End to end, last 20 minutes we're on the cards for Omri. Runs into Vincent Kompany again.
Oh, he's on.
This could be a chance. Keeper's off his line. Omri has to stay composed. Oh, off the post. There the other day. That one goes in. Still, though, chance is very much alive. It's how he responds now. Player lock. The idea was there. Schmeichel goes down to ground and gets two hands on it.
It could be a big moment in this game. It's going to have for a throw in the switch there, but Henry on his weaker foot. It was a tough angle. Hitting the post there. Could have been the equaliser for Jayden.
Long ball forward. Well, it finds Shinoda. It's worth mentioning as well to anyone out there that is watching tonight's broadcast. If you're a Brighton fan, you're not aware of the quality of players we have on display. Jayden Groden was an E-World Cup Grand Finalist back in FIFA 21 it was. I know it was a few years ago now, but still showed his quality. Best 32 players in the world he was in that year. There's the player lock, and that's him showing his class. 12 minutes before the end of leg one. He finds an equaliser to get himself back in this game from 2-0 down.
They always say 2-0 leads are the dangerous ones to hold. And it's proving this way now for Moonman. He was winning 2-0. As soon as we tuned in, he was winning 2-1. But Jayden's managed to turn the game on its head with 10 minutes left to go in leg one.
On ball again. Suddenly panic stations could start to come in from Moonman. He's had a lot of EAFC to play today, especially when you go down to the lower bracket, right? He's already had to play potentially nearly 8 to 10 legs of FIFA. Here's Jayden Groden looking for a winner before the end of the game. Min Son won't want to see that one again in a hurry. Yeah, so right now, Ryan, it's the 11th game of EAFC that Moonman has played tonight.
Yeah, he's had
11 games.
Oh, honestly, he's had a tough session. He's had a tough game. Again, every single game has the importance. And this one here could be punished late on.
Can he punish him with Henry? Again, it's the post that saves Moonman, but not on the second time of asking. Min Son is there. It's another late goal in the ePremier League Club playoff event. It might only be in leg one, but still, it is the ultimate turnaround from Jayden Groden. He was 2-0 down. We have to remember that. 2-0 down, coming out of this one 3-2. What a performance.
Yep, he's done really well from what we've seen so far to turn the game around. 3-2 up now, which is an important lead to take into the second leg. But yeah, hopefully be able to join his teammate in Mark Marley. They've, of course, represented Brighton in previous years together. But for Moonman, he needs to have that belief again. He's come from the loser bracket. He's come from situations where he's lost the first leg. So he just needs to do it again.
I still remember it like it was yesterday when that tournament did go down with Brighton of Albion, and we saw Jayden and we saw Mark playing together. They were in quite a difficult group, but the problem they had is they just drew too many games that year. There were two unbelievable players in great form, as we said. You know, the World Cup conversation was that same year as well, I do believe. Last year, Jayden did represent Manchester United in the Premier League, so he's come back to the Seagulls this time round. Them two could be a deadly duo. I'm not saying anything the Moonman can't deliver, but, you know, they're both from Scotland. They know each other really well. It could be another really strong outfit for the Seagulls if it was to be those two that did qualify, as well as Moonman maybe coming into that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, all three of the players are top players managed to get to this position, but you'd expect on paper, based on previous accomplishments and stature in the scene, that Jayden would obviously be the favourite in this tournament up against Moonman. So it would be a major upset, in my opinion, if he did lose, but it's going to be a tough way for Moonman, not just to get back into this leg, but even if he does it, having to reset it again, that would be how many games, Brandon? You said would be like 13 games?
So
today?
He's about to play game 12. If he does a bracket reset, he'll have to play 14 matches of EAFC. And he's only been playing since, I think, like 6 or 5 p.m. today. Like, to have that level of concentration and to be playing harder opponents as the night goes on is just mental. Can I just say one thing, by the way? The Premier League gives us every year, Ryan, gamer tags. Some of these gamer tags we've seen tonight, Moonman, I mean, you're logging onto your Xbox there, aren't you? And you're just saying, just choose me a gamer tag.
It's a random name. It's a random, literally just any old name. But Yeah, hopefully we do have the replays that we're able to touch in on that game, Jaden up against Moonman. Of course, we missed out the first couple goals, but hopefully we're able to see the goals that Jaden scored to turn the game on its head. And right on cue, this was the goal. 78 minutes, Henry with the step over, the drag to drag cancel. Heung-min Son driving towards the byline, the player lock, and the tap in there. And this was it again, last minutes of the game, Brandon. Salah pushing forward. The play lock cancel into Henry off the post, but then the rebound falls kindly to Heung-min Son, 90th minute to win the game.
Yeah, and look, what a turnaround. I think you could easily be 2-0 down in that game, Ryan, and start thinking,
Yeah.
oh, God, bracket reset. It's happening to me. Especially for these players as well. A lot of people don't know that this year, there's a lot of 9-minute halves, Ryan. You know, players are playing 9-minute halves. They're not getting 2 legs. They're not getting the comfortability of having a second leg to fall back on. To have to change and adapt for different tournaments is a massive thing.
It really is. Genuinely, it really is. Even the personnel changes. I know both players have to deal with that, but I'm sure Jaden would only have used a handful of these players. Jaden will be kicking from right to left as well. EPL 14.
Well then, 3-2. Jaden leads. Looking to start this game. The better of the 2 players. Kicking from right to left, as you said, in that away strip is Jaden. Long ball forward. This is where he could be deadly. Is there one more pass available? There it is. Mohamed Salah all the time in the world. You simply cannot give a player of Jaden's quality that much time, as he will punish you every single day of the week. Trailblazer Mohamed Salah adds another one onto the tally. And now it's a 2-goal cushion.
Absolutely. As you said, there's the time and space. The player look with Henry brought the header down, or brought the ball in the air down. This could be a response quickly from Moon, when it's blocked there with Vincent Kompany stepping across. But as you said, Mo Salah given time and space to pick the top corner. The goalkeeper movement made the mind up there for Jaden to put it into the opposite corner as well.
Long ball forward. Oh, this could be beautiful. How about that one for a counter-attack? It's a no-nonsense long ball over the top, but it's just found David Ginola in the right pocket of space at the right time. And this is where it can get very dangerous right now.
Absolutely, said caught off guard defensively there, and it capitalised on from Jaden. The ball roll there, he seems to be flying forward. Son with the turn, round the goalkeeper.
It's getting out of hand. It is getting out of hand. 4-goal cushion in 17 minutes. Jaden Grodham is looking to make that partnership happen once again. It happened 2 years ago in the Premier League. Mark Marley and Jaden Grodham, who did represent the Seagulls back then, they may have been knocked out in the group stages. But this time, looking to reset the record. And this is where it does get really dangerous, Ryan. 20 minutes in, yes, there's time, but you're down by 4 goals.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very demotivating because, again, it's 6 unanswered goals. 6 on the trot course, was leading 2-0, and now he's down 6-2. So it's going to take a lot of mental courage to come back into this game. Guys, in.
This could be even worse. One more pass. Heung-min Son. Good save, Schmeichel. Salah, Trivela. Oof. It's just one of those places to be in. You're sort of fluttering at the back. You don't really know what to do, and you just got a player throwing everything at you. Skill moves, Trivelas. Every single meta mechanic. And you've got to try and keep you calm, defend. And find a way through. Ended well. The first attack we've really seen from Moonman.
There's no space. You can see just the defensive structure for Jaden. There's nowhere for movement to break through. He's going down the wings, whipping it first time.
Pulls himself out of position. It's poor defending there from Jaden. Does well to get fortunate to recover. Ten minutes away from half time. Salah, what's that back post? Still Ronaldo chop. Can he turn? This has to go in, really. Just rushed at the chance.
Ooh, if that ball would have made it through to Son, we could have saw goal number 7. 5 minutes left of this first half. We've seen 3 goals from Jaden. Moonman needs to get back into this game. He's going to need a goal before half time to give him the best of chances. Doesn't look like it's going to happen from that attack anyway.
It could be 5. It could be even worse, just offside. The situation here, Ryan, doesn't matter what level of player you are. It's just the mental game here. 4-0 down in a game that you know you have to win. There's no second chances. You're not in a situation where you've got the bracket reset to fall back on. This just must be so hard to try and find a way through. This can make it 5-goal cushion if he can make his mark. Henry had the idea. Couldn't find it. Heung-min Son again. Has a shot from distance! Well, if there's one way to go into half-time, how about that? Now, we could argue, Ryan, that's why the finesse is being patched pretty soon. Because
I'm surprised that's the first one we've seen throughout the 7 goals that Jaden has scored. The first finesse shot we've managed to see. And it could be a telling one as well, giving it in the 5-goal advantage. For me, it's going to be it would have to be a monumental throwaway from Jaden.
Well, you could just see there, that was the screen of Jaden Groden there, just looking to patch over a small area of his defence, just bringing on Ramirez. He doesn't really need to change anything. 5 goals, Ryan. I mean, oh no. Could have been worse. What do you do in this scenario? Obviously, other than try and score goals and put numbers forward.
You just... There's not much, because it's not as if it's like a 3-goal deficit. When you're down by that many, you have to put bodies forward. There's no other option, which obviously is going to leave you susceptible to a counter. You're going to end up conceding again. And when it's this low, well, obviously 6-minute halves, there's not a lot of time for you to get back into the game. Well, not a 5-goal deficit type of redemption anyway.
A chance to start that comeback. Could start now. It would be a miracle, though. I think the one thing that surprised me, Iran, is when Jaden was 2-0 down, I'm thinking, right, maybe he's not had the best practice coming into this one. But the key thing is how he just ended that first leg. Let alone getting 2 goals back, but being in the lead.
Exactly. I think that was the key thing for him, not to give him any sort of belief that he could get anything from this game, and he sort of denied him any opportunity from the first moments of this second leg as well.
If you're wondering why there is so many icons and heroes in these teams, if those players did feature in the Premier League. Here's Jada looking for another one for his tally, just offside. But back to the point. On EAFC Ultimate Team this year, you have got the ability to select heroes and icons that if they did feature in the Premier League in their career, they can be used in these teams. And as we're currently seeing in the game, there's just so many better options of that level of player, whether an icon or a hero, than what is actually in the game, currently still playing right now. Here's Yaya Toure, needs to score. And the Saab matches that one up perfectly well. 30 minutes on the clock, it is still Jayden 7-2 to the good. Van der Sar will help Moonman ever so slightly on his way back. It's a save he won't want to see again. Patrick Vieira with an interesting goal there from the corner. Does bring the deficit down to just a 4-goal difference between the two.
Yep, 7-3 now in aggregate. No, the scorelines above haven't updated, but Jayden with the response. Oh, he's hit it wide.
Fortunate for him. He does have a 4-goal cushion still. Headers and volleys in the box. Chance again. This one has to go for Moonman. Yeah, Toure looks to go on his own. Did so well. Just to find the chance. Van der Sar comes out. More minutes taken out from the game. 22 minutes left. It's a really aggressive press. You can understand why. Cole, all the way from left back, tries to squeeze through. That's why Ramirez came on at half-time, just to freshen up that back line and to inject his energy and pace into interceptions such as that.
So many bodies defending for Jayden. 20 minutes to go.
Haaland. We said, would we see the Norwegian player come on? Oh, he hasn't just come on. He's been the provider into Ginola that reinstalls that back to a 5-goal cushion again. I think at this point, Ryan, we can really start just looking ahead at Brighton of Albion's chances this year in the Premier League.
Yeah, it looks as if it will be the combination, the duo, Mark Marley and Jayden, representing Brighton and Hove Albion again in the ePremier League this year. They're going to be a consolation goal for Moonman. Stepovers in the box, doesn't get the shot away.
Into the final 10 minutes. As we said, last year they were on different teams in the Premier League. The year before that, they were teammates. They will be teammates again this year in London. They will go to battle in the group stages on the 20th and 21st of January. And fingers crossed this time we can have our best ever run. In the 6th version of the Premier League, which has got bigger over time. £100,000 in prize money on the line. Only one club being able to be called the Premier League champions. Interception there. Does give Hullet the time to run forward, but we have to also look at this as well. Commiserations to Moonman. Same goes for AGM Jules over on the PlayStation, but Jayden Groden has just played this final so well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's coming as the favourite. He started off very slowly, of course, down by 2, but he's shown his dominance on FC24 to turn this game around, not just by 1 or 2 goals. He's done it in a resounding way to secure himself the spot of the Brighton's Xbox representative.
Well, into the last couple of minutes now. Brighton of Albion were the 4th club to play that the Premier League club playoff event. Following AFC Bournemouth, Arsenal and Brentford, we have been going in Alphabetical order so far. This time round, added time of 2 minutes, but we are waiting just to confirm that full-time whistle as the Xbox representative this year in the Premier League will be Jayden Grodin. He's back again representing the Seagulls for a second time, and he'll be teaming up with Mark Marley this time round. I mean, look, commiserations to the Moon Man and AGM Jules, both superb players, went through a really difficult bracket run, online qualifiers against thousands of players, but regardless of who's made it, we could be in a really good hands here, Ryan, this time round as a Brighton fan. I'm feeling confident. You know, these two weren't too bad a couple of years ago. The game has changed. They've changed as players now. There's a good chance that we could be looking at the knockouts here.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Both players fantastic on FC24. They've shown it today. Both again, we speak about they were given the spot in the grand finals of the winner bracket. They were given because of their previous history with the club, but they had to face adversity. They were down by goals or a couple of goals in both scenarios, but turned it around, showed their dominance, and yeah, deservedly qualified.
Yeah, congratulations to both of those. Commiserations to those, and well done to those that did make it into tonight's club playoff event. To do it out of all the thousands of fans that did try to represent Brighton is still a huge achievement. Let's have a little look at some of the replays, if we can, from that grand final. As we said, we caught it in the second leg. The first leg did finish 3-2. Jayden Grodin in the lead. Jayden was kicking in the away strip of Brighton. He did have an early start, and it was just one-way traffic, wasn't it? It was goal after goal after goal, and it just got to a situation where the Moon Man just couldn't really do anything. That goal there is outrageous.
Unbelievable ball there. The controlled sprint initially, then the lofted pass over the defensive line. This one here, playing the pass, was slightly lucky to get the ball back, but they made the right choices. And what isn't lucky is the composure in front of goal, ball rolling around the goalkeeper. And then the goal number 4 comes from a mistake just before halftime. Finesse shot, play style plus with Heung-min Son to make it 4-0 in this game, 7-2 on aggregate. There was a response though, Brandon. It was a corner. Van der Sar won't want to look at that again. It was a mistake. And then this is the last goal in this game. It was Haaland whipped in. David heads it into the top corner, and that sealed out the game between Jayden and Moonman.
Yeah, I mean, a very different first to a second leg. And look, I know some players might not like the 9-minute half-one legs, but when they get a little taster of what two-legged FC is all about, it certainly offers a little bit of comfort there as we saw two very different performances. As we said, the headline news here tonight is that Mark Marley and Jayden Grodin will be representing the Seagulls this time round in London. What's interesting, though, this time, Brian, is that there's a group stage format. So how it works is basically 16 clubs will make it through to the Premier League final. So all you've got to do in the group stages, I'm imagining there's 5 teams in each group, a top 4 in the group, and you qualify for another Premier League event in March, which is the big one with £100,000 on the line. That's very much possible for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially with these duos, they'll be definitely confident and back their ability to make it.
Well, let's speak to one of those players that has made it to another Premier League final. He joins us live from Scotland right now. Mark, I heard you weren't feeling too well, but you must be feeling a little bit better after qualifying again.
Yeah, of course. 90th minute winner as well. Like there's nothing better in FIFA.
I have to say, your consistency, I always say it, year after year, you always make it. You always make it year after year. I can see a Brighton shirt behind you there hanging up. I'm sure there'll be another one for the collection. 6 years in a row. That's only Tex has got that record with you.
Yeah, it's more than half a decade now. It's quite scary looking back at it. But I always circle out like on the calendar. Obviously, it's a little bit different this year that we're all in on making ePremier League. But it's something I'm very proud of.
Yeah, I have a question for you. I don't want to keep you too long, of course. I know you're not feeling too well, but you, of course, qualified or were in the latter stages in the Premier League on FIFA 20. How do you feel like your chances are this year to go that step further?
Yeah, listen, we have to back ourselves. We won a tournament as a duo in Scotland as well, so we know that we have it in us to go far. There'll be a lot of other good teams, but as soon as the event starts, I know that we can definitely go far.
I mean, look, a couple of years ago, you two teamed up for the Seagulls. Too many draws that time, Mark. You and Jayden this time, more goals, please, and some more wins.
Yeah, we actually didn't lose a game. We went out of the group.
I know, so many draws. Just didn't make sense, did
it? The 9-minute best of ones, if that's how it's going to be, it might help things. Give us a few extra minutes to find the winner.
Well, Mark, congratulations, my friend. You have qualified again 6 years in a row for the Premier League. We'll be seeing you at the start of January to represent Brighton.
Thanks, guys.
There we go. Mark Marley, again, consistency. If you are new to the Premier League, just know that we are very much in safe hands with our two players here in what was an incredible bracket run, Ryan. Mark, I just felt there's a different mindset this time around. They did have a good run in the East Scottish Cup, which him and Jaden were teammates for. They went and won that whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a different duo we're looking at this time round.
Yeah, maybe you can see that they back themselves. They've shown before that they can compete together and do well, have successes behind them as well. So yeah, for their sake, I hope they manage to do it.
Well, all we got to say now is we need to look forward to the start of January. The 20th and the 21st of January was when all 20 Premier League clubs will take battle on the virtual pitch on EAFC. Group stages on those 2 days, and then it all goes down in March, 23rd and 24th of March. £100,000 on the line. Ryan, fingers crossed we'll be there in some capacity. If not, we'll be watching in the stands. How much are you looking forward to this year's Premier League Grand Finals?
Yeah, I think it'll be good. We still have a number of qualification playoffs for a number of the clubs as well. So it'll be interesting to see the final names that manage to qualify for all the clubs.
Yeah, well, we are 4 clubs in at the moment. Brighton of Albion will be the 4th club playoff to conclude alongside AFC Bournemouth, Arsenal and Brentford. 60 more clubs to find 32 more players. As we said, a massive thank you to Brighton of Albion for having myself, Brandon Smith, and Ryan Pessoa on your channel tonight, bringing you the action again for another Premier League club playoff. We wish all the best to Mark and Jaden this year in the Premier League. Commiserations to the fans and players that did sign up and compete this year to try and represent the Seagulls. And all that's left to say is, have a lovely Christmas, Happy New Year early days, and we'll see you in the early 2024 for this year's Premier League. Good night, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.